What up, family? It's the Bitesize Breakdown crew, and we are back with another episode of A Bigger Bite. I, again, am not Matt. I'm your boy, Amarú. And with me today is Mr. Adriano, and on the other side of him, his better half, Mr. Amanda. And we are here to talk today about a sequel that happened. And you'll find out how we felt about that sequel just right about now. Wicked for Good. Probably going to make all of the money this weekend.
Yes.
But also we'll see how well that continues based on how everybody felt about it. And I'm just going to get straight into it. My first question I was wondering about, because I have not. Have either of you two seen the stage play?
She has. I have not.
I have not either. So, like, the two of us went in it with nothing. So I'm going to go to you, Amanda. Talk about the stage play first and Act 2 compared to Act 1. So it kind of, like, just informs what you think about this movie.
So Act 2 is worse than Act 1. And I kept telling people that the second half of Wicked is going to be very hard to adapt because it is messy. And I think that Jon M translated that well, because it did feel very. This is literally the only way that it could have been adapted because it's the equivalent of the stage play. Like the second half is just so poor, drop storylines, not enough development for the characters. Even just like the emotional weight between Elphaba and Glinda, thankfully has been enhanced in the film, or else the stage play is like minimal. It's not even that strong either. For Good's really the only song in the stage play that actually enriches it, and that comes in way like towards the end, so it's still not enough. But yeah, I mean, they did what they could with the material that they had, and it wasn't even that strong to begin with, and this is what we got.
So I'm assuming that you feel the same way about the film that you do about the stage.
Absolutely. Like Act 1 is phenomenal. It has the better songs, and there's a massive tone shift that I don't think audiences, well, the general audience who had like no idea what to expect, even with the Wizard of Oz tie-in. I don't think they realized how much darker and like somber it is in comparison to the first half. Which, you know, can harm it at the end of the day. I mean, totally different, but like I feel the same way about like Infinity War Endgame. It's a different situation, but tonally they're different. You can't watch them together and say that they're roughly the same type of film. I don't think so tonally, but it is different than this. But both parts is like whiplash for Wicked in this case. So I think people kind of got turned off, especially with the Wizard of Oz connections, because those are also really bad in the book and in the play, so they don't really make any sense realistically.
I'll say this. I am as close. Actually, no, Adriano, I'm going to ask you, how much of a stage play person are you in general? Before I make this comment,
I could be better. It's not that I'm not interested. I just don't see them as often, just because it's not like, you know, A, they're expensive, B, like it's like I would be down to see more. I just haven't, and this is definitely one I wouldn't mind seeing. Although the ones I have seen, I've loved.
Okay, so me and you were probably in the same boat. I'm not that big of a stage play person. Just again, same with you. Just in general, about it's not what I choose to go do. I like them, but I don't like musical films, so it's not something I translate to go see stage plays.
That's where we differ.
It hurts.
But you like musicals. It's a specific musical. I loved Wicked. So I came into this fresh-faced, not a musical fan, but a Wicked fan. And I will say this, before I go to you, Adriano, on your overall thoughts, I, being as close, I guess, to the general audience for this movie as possible, I actually like the darker themes. I think it was the part that was actually the most fleshed out and thought out and brought something to the movie. I just didn't think they did it well enough. But Adriano, before I go to that, how did you feel about the film overall, not seeing the stage play?
A lot of things I felt about the first one carried over here. You know, Cynthia and Ariana are pretty fantastic, but Jon M as a director, just like, and I felt the same about the first one too, even though I really liked it. It really just bogged it down. But in the first one, he was adapting, I would say, better material, and I think that elevated the film. This one, the material's just not there, and I really wanted to cite the critic's name. I completely blanked, but I want to say the phrase because I think it fits. I also don't want to take credit. And they said that there's a reason why intermissions aren't a year long. This movie, like, I don't mind that it didn't have like a refresher of the first one. That's that's how most part twos operate. You mentioned Endgame, they didn't do that, and I have issues with that movie. That's not one of them. The problem is you need to be in the same emotional like setting as you were leaving the first one, and the movie doesn't do anything to reestablish it beyond like very minor failed attempts. And for that, it just didn't. A lot of the big beats didn't land for me. No, like For Good did not make me feel anything. And oh god, I'm not getting.
I was weeping. Anyways, continue. Sorry,
I'm not getting a good night tonight. It's not the worst movie ever made. No, but
no.
And I have a lot of feelings on how Wicked, like this event, Wicked was handled. But I'm talking about just this movie as a whole. As a fan of the first one, I have the 4K right there. This just to me did not land. It just felt void and almost to the point where I left thinking they did not need to make this 2 movies.
They did. Yeah. They did. I'm sorry. There is no way that you could fit in all of those songs. If they took out any of those songs, people would have been pissed.
They could take out Sentimental Man. Like there's definitely some stuff they could.
I'm not knocking that. Like, it's just the fact that you can't cut this down because there's so many interconnecting events that happen. There's so many interconnecting obstacles that happen, and they kind of, bleed into each other, so that you can't really take these things out. I don't think it would have been possible for this to have been 2 hours and like 45 minutes and have both parts squished in. I think that would have been like so rushed, and you had to cut down like the Mean Girls musical, which pissed off everybody because they cut down. There's normally for like a book, for a song book in a musical, it is 24 songs. And it's like a 2.5 hour, almost 3 hour runtime on stage with a 15-minute intermission. Well, so in that, but it's staged. It's very different for the actors. So for film, to be able to translate all of those musical numbers to film is completely different. And the Mean Girls musical is one of them where it's like impossible because there's so much talking in between. If you're doing like an opera, like Phantom of the Opera, that's different. The song, it's just songs. It's just music the entire time. You can condense it to a 2-hour film. But in this case, people would have been so pissed off because it's such a beloved musical that there's no way that you can fit it in one film. There's just no way.
I actually was the opposite. So at the end of the day, I enjoyed the film. There are so many flaws. It is nowhere near the first one. Everybody coming in, I tried to like minimize how much I heard, but I kept hearing the second act is not as good as the first act.
I heard that too.
When I left, I was like, similar to Running Man, but a little better, where I left like, okay, that was okay. I thought it should have been longer. I'm going the opposite direction. They should have added like 20, 30 minutes and found way to build more original like writing to build up this second half of the story, because I liked the dark tones. The only time we got like while I was watching it, I'm sorry, Amanda, you say For Good, I have no idea what song that is at all. I don't remember the music.
It's the one Cynthia and Ariana like get emotional and sing to each other.
It's the best friend song. It's the best friend song.
So like I remember that happening, but you had to remind me. I left not thinking about any songs whatsoever. Like I don't remember any of them. I remember that Cynthia and Ariana are amazing. They can sing their asses off. Ariana did a hell of a job, but I'll talk about that later. But I was grasping for like, there's good things in here. And why is it only 2 hours and 18 minutes? Get a writer and build this out. I got really interested when the animals were leaving. Spoiler if you don't know, it says spoiler discussion right there. When the animals were leaving, and then Elphaba was trying to convince them, and I was like, this is cool. The second the lion came in and switched that, I was like, oh shit, this is actually interesting. This darker shit right here, I like. And I actually weirdly really liked how everything wrapped at the end. How Ariana was watching Elphaba get melted. How we get the scarecrow back and she comes out. Like how everything wrapped. I was like, that's actually a really interesting ending. Except everything leading up to it, except a couple of darker parts here and there, were not very interesting to keep me enthralled. Aside from watching Ariana and Cynthia do their thing. I also weirdly like the musical between them two and the wizard. Like that was also pretty interesting to me.
That was one of the better like musicals.
Yeah,
Wonderful was really good. Yeah.
Funny enough, that was the moment like when I realized, wait, an hour had passed. Because it's funny you say that it should have been longer, and to an degree, I kind of agree. But in the other way, that's kind of when I realized this could have been one movie. And it was like an hour in that movie. I was like, they haven't accomplished too much here, have we? Like, we're just now getting reestablished into these two like relationship. We're just now getting like we got glimmers of like plot progression, but like something like the Tin Man kind of resulted in nothing. Like it's these little like things that this movie that when we got to that point, and I was like, this is actually an enjoyable musical sequence, which. It's not a lot of them in these movies, but like, because again, Jon M just is not like he did a bad job as director in both of these movies. But that was when I realized, like, wait, this feels like the first time like it's progressed. And from there, I'm like, yes, we're actually moving. I've been, it's like, all right, but like an hour of this 2-hour movie is kind of like not that much is accomplished. Not that I won't say nothing, but not that much.
It's very slow. And they added scenes. Like there wasn't supposed to be a wedding. There wasn't supposed to there were a couple other things that they just shouldn't have added. Like the note if we're going to talk about songs, because you did bring up When the Animals Escape, the No Place Like Home song I felt was like poorly written. Just because lyrically it's poorly written. I understand like the sentiment. I thought it would have been better if the lyrics weren't as basic as they were. I think that's why I didn't feel that connectivity to it. But even that scene was added, that song was added. There's more focus on the animals. That imagine like watching it without the focus on the animals, and then these things just sort of happen in the second act of the stage play. Like there's
that's crazy because I felt like things just happened.
Yeah,
in the first place.
Yeah. And now it's like that wasn't even there to begin with. Like none of that was there.
First thing I want to say about that is when she said No Place Like Home, I literally leaned over to Amanda and said, "Oh, give me a break." Second, that's kind of an example of like, okay, they have like this interesting thing, like, oh, she's gonna rile up the like she's got like that's like an interesting idea, like of Elphaba being like, hey, this place has like hated you forever. Like even before this mantra, like you've been hated, like you're just ostracized here. Why stay? Leave with us. And she kind of has this interesting idea, and the animals almost turn, and then Lion shows up and is like, no, don't do it. And it's like, oh, erased immediately. Like it's been everything you accomplished is flipped. Like you kind of almost undid it in a way. Not the Elphaba stuff, but the animal stuff.
So that brings up a question for me, because that was the other biggest issue I had. And the biggest missed opportunity for me as somebody who has not seen the play. It made sense that they had to connect to Wizard of Oz. But it also, like, when I say make sense, I mean, like, well, it's Wicked. You either decide fully to not connect, or you fully go in and let's become a a sequel to the first movie and a prequel to Wizard of Oz, so fully go into it. That was the biggest reason I think it felt bogged down to me. Like they had to connect to all these characters. And when those connections kept happening, I'm like, this could be interesting. But you let it go.
And then it goes nowhere. I know.
Bach becoming the Tin Man. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I would have loved a good like 3 or 4 more scenes of seeing Elphaba and her sister turn from the sweet person she was to, that's a good 15 minutes more you could put in this movie showing, what's her sister's name? Because I don't remember.
Nessa.
Showing Nessa turn from the sweet person to becoming the governor who is now selfish. Where did that come from? And then more with Bach after.
Set it up a little bit. Like I saw like Nessa being a little bit like, oh, she's not a good sister to this woman at all. But I do agree. It kind of flipped on a dime. It's just like, yeah, she was like spoiled a little, like, and like a little like spineless in the last one, and then this one she's like, oh, I'm evil now. It's like, all right.
I mean, spineless might not be a good choice of words, saying she's in a wheelchair, but anyway.
Fuck, man.
Dude, they also had to change certain things for that, because the scene where Elphaba has her levitate
right
on stage, obviously it's not, they made that change consciously because of Marissa Bode. They made that change and it would have been kind of poorly translated as well, because
can you explain what that is? Because I don't know what you're referencing.
Yeah. The Wicked Witch of the East actually has the ruby slippers on, like the shoes, and she's walking. So they would not be able to translate that to screen because of like Nessa being in a wheelchair. So they made her float instead of that. And then there's a couple more scenes between Nessa and Elphaba, which they had to cut out. But at the same time, when the house gets dropped on the Wicked Witch of the East, they did not show Nessa. There's like, even in the Wizard of Oz, they do have the rubies, like they have the slippers and then the legs pull underneath the, like it's that kind of stuff. No reference was made. Even Elphaba and Glinda, when they're there and they have that like battle that just felt like the longest scene in history and so like stale and just terrible execution. They didn't acknowledge that the shoes were there. They just didn't acknowledge like what exactly was happening with the house falling on her sister. And I think that there was a missed opportunity, because even like Nessa dying is like, okay, cool, whatever. And it shouldn't be like that. That should be a moment like, that's your sister. That's the Wicked Witch of the East. Like it just felt rushed, but it also felt prolonged at the same time. And that's a testament to the editing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the editing was
another, like I said, another opportunity where people would sit down for another 2 hour and 40 something minute Wicked movie. They would have no issues. So go ahead and find a screenwriter or find somebody who can, work with somebody who knows Wicked and build out more story here, because the things you're laying out to me as a knowing nothing about it, they're interesting things. I want to know who the Wicked Witch of the East is. I may sound like an idiot, but there were a lot of things that were like, oh, right, that what this is. I didn't see that coming because I'm not thinking about it. I didn't see the Wizard of Oz being the father because I'm not thinking about it. And I would say that was the one toward why I like the ending, because I felt like it felt a little bit more fleshed out and a good way to reveal it. But again, the things building up to it, so many places, especially connecting to the Wizard of Oz characters, could have been places for even more new original story to build and turn something that everybody who's seen the play is saying, yo, the second act is not good. Change it, add to it, and make it good.
The best part is that they did, though. This is what we got.
Crazy. It's crazy.
That's why it's
that house scene with Nessa, like when that was when I realized, oh, there's no fixing this. I don't think like that was just so like when she actually got squished, I was just like, this is kind of funny. Like it's just funny.
Yeah.
And then like the preceding scene of them two, I was just like, this is so toothless. Just like I'm gonna keep dunking on him, but as a respite, I'm gonna bring in that In the Heights it's a pretty great movie. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty great movie with a personality, which these movies lack, but also like Wicked is, at the end of the day, like a very politically dark story. Like, it is about a fascist society and how scapegoating in the and Jon M as a director just doesn't he doesn't have enough teeth to actually do something with that. In the Heights is a much smaller film about like how there's like power in each other's voices and like the love of a community. This is just like a very serious political thing, and I don't think Chu like has that in him to do something like this.
No.
Like he doesn't, and that's why so much of this just felt lackluster. Like even the first Wicked, which I did like, I felt the same way. It just so happened that there was a really lovely relationship at the center of it. This one, though, it just failed to like connect. Like even when like her and Fierro finally got together, I'm just like, put this in isolation, it kind of comes out of thin air. Like in the context of this movie, it kind of like out of nowhere.
No, it doesn't.
How can you take the context of this movie on its own, though? It's technically
because they do a bad job of reestablishing. Like they just do a bad job of reestablishing.
The beginning of the film is Fierro. Like
I know he says like, "Oh, if they catch him, she'll die," but that one line is enough for me to feel this moment of like, I'm gonna just throw away. Like I get why he did, but this one moment of like, I'm gonna throw away everything now. It felt a little like, oh, like that's like it did it, but in the context of watching this movie, it felt like unearned.
But it's the chemistry of part one that you see that Fierro has a change of heart towards the end, right before they go to the Emerald City. So then that's also like, you watch that beforehand and then it's built and it's like, it's shown right off the bat when she's singing Thank Goodness at the beginning of this film. And he's telling her, like, it broke me when she's like, oh, aren't you happy too, dear, that we're married, that we're going to be married? And he's like, sure, as long as you're happy. And it's like, you know that he's thinking about Elphaba in that moment. And it's like, it's small. Listen, the stage play, we didn't even get half of it. Like we got more than what we like got in this stage play. So I totally get you as a general like viewer for this who didn't watch the play. I totally get where it's like, oh, this feels unearned. But that scene, As Long as You're Mine, made me weep in that theater. Adri was looking at me like, are you okay? Like, why are you crying over this? Oh my God, that's so beautiful. They're together.
Well, beyond being, in my opinion, a little rushed. That scene, I was also again, not to keep going back to Jon and Chu, but that scene, I was just like, what's happening? Because the lighting was so god awful that I was just like, this is like, I cannot see them.
I will tell you, before I became a movie critic, I did, like, lighting and all that stuff did not matter to me in the 20-something years of watching movies every weekend. It matters a little bit more to me. I understand what you're saying. I see it. I don't care. It looked good to me. And I was like, yes, I understand that it's way darker than in the Heights. Sure.
I literally cannot see.
He did. He literally went forward into the screen.
Take Daimala, for example. The way that they shoot nighttime scenes is
spectacular.
Fucking amazing.
I agree.
This scene is just like what the hell is that?
I'm gonna go back to Jonathan Bailey because I don't agree with you at all on that. That entire scene of Glinda speaking to the audience and Bailey there, his facial expressions, his physical acting, that was probably the most the audience reacted the entire scene when he said, "I'm happy that you're happy." Yeah. It played like a freaking reality show. The mess of messes. Everybody's like, ooh, shit, in the theater. Yeah. And that takes me to the three of them. They did as much as they possibly could to elevate what was not there. I feel like I feel bad for Cynthia because she kind of disappears and has nothing to do, and she takes the brunt of like the amazing performance you did in one. Anybody who doesn't know you and know what you did in one and just saw this would probably be like, she's not that good of an actor. No, she was not given much to do in this. Jonathan Bailey did the damn thing with what he could have. I even felt it at the end as I keep wanting to call him the snowman. No, the scarecrow. And just again, his physical performance when he got her out of there. I really enjoyed that. And I just think I'm not gonna go as far as saying they should get nominated again this year, honestly. But Ariana Grande,
yeah,
she can act. And maybe it's because this is the perfect role for her, but she actually brought another level to Glinda and her ability to do more than sing. I'm going to bring this up because I'm rewatching this. It's what I felt from Rachel Zegler in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I was just enthralled. And again, I was enthralled by her here. Yeah, and then Jeff Goldblum, especially at the end, I cannot stand what they did with Michelle. I did not like her at all in this movie. But anyway, talk about what y'all feel about some good things in terms of the actors trying to do what they could with the material they were given and elevating it as much as they could. If you agree or if you think it's not great.
I did feel that Cynthia and Ariana and Jonathan Bailey really helped elevate the first one. He's terrific. He's not in it enough for me to say he elevates anything in this movie.
That's fair.
Yeah, that mostly goes to Cynthia and Ari on this one. Yeah, they're both terrific. Like I've said even before Wicked, I was like, there's something untapped about Ariana Grande. And yeah, she proved herself both times. She is amazing. And I like the idea, again, doesn't totally work, but she does great with the whole, be kind of knowing what's happening is awful, but knowing how it benefits her. I think that works a lot. And I will say I did not like Jeff Goldblum in the first one. I liked him a lot more here. But yeah, Michelle Yeoh was very miscast and kind of comes back down to now that the story's over, I do kind of go, wait, what was that character exactly? So that's just bad person. Michelle Yeoh, love her. She deserved that Oscar. Not good here in either of these movies.
No, I agree with that. Madame Morrible's not really that big of a character to begin with, and I feel like they gave her more to do in both films, which kind of the writing shows for itself. She couldn't really elevate what they gave her because it was big fat nothing and repetitive, unfortunately. But I love her. She's amazing. Ariana Grande loves Glinda so very much and understands her. I love this portrayal of the character. I think it's one of the best, if not the best. Sorry, Kristen Chenoweth and Megan Hilty, who I actually saw at the Gershwin Theater. Had to tie that in. That I did watch her. She just exudes what Glinda the Good is supposed to be. And I love the transition at the end for her as well. And I think she notices the power that she has and to use her platform for good. And I just think that Ari was phenomenal. I do see that she did give the strongest performance out of the entire film because obviously Cynthia had to take a back seat here. And everyone's just like, oh, but it's a co-lead. And I'm like, if you watch how this unfolds, Cynthia really has nothing to do other than the animals. And then once that's taken away, there's really nothing for her to do, unfortunately. But she killed No Good Deed. I think everyone was waiting for that song. That is the masterpiece of the second act, is No Good Deed. As Long As You're Mine, as I mentioned with Jonathan Bailey, those are the two songs. And then the emotional weight that she brings with Ariana Grande for Good, which is the most beautiful song about seeing why you even chose your best friend and what they kind of filled for you and your soul, and you filled each other's souls in that way and matched each other. I think it's just the most beautiful song and the greatest performance ever. Sorry, Adina, sorry, Kristen, but it's just the two of them. They're fantastic. So after No Good Deed onwards, Cynthia's amazing. She has something to do. But it's just very unfortunate that I don't know what it was. There wasn't that much of a focus on her. It was more on Ari, and that it's a given considered where the story goes for Glinda and obviously what happens to Elphaba. So it's very hard because Cynthia's fantastic. She's absolutely incredible and the best Elphaba that we could have had. It sucks. it's co-led, yes, up to a certain point, but like Ariana Grande stole the spotlight in this case, and she deserves her flowers too, because a lot of people doubted her.
Kind of similar said about Fierro, where like his arc kind of ended before the movie began. What was like Alphaba's like arc here? Like, am I missing? Like, it's a weird thing with her. Like Glenda, I very clearly see the complicity thing,
the transformation too. Yeah,
Alphaba is just like
it's the animals
almost. Yeah, but like that's not new information with her. It's like her drive was there in the first one. It was like,
was there an attempt at an arc for Elphaba to make her accept that she is a person worthy of being selfish and wanting things, like wanting Fierro? Because I will tell you that romantic scene kind of was like, where is this? I get that it's coming, but this feels out of place and weird here a little bit. Like, I wasn't expecting this. This seems like it shouldn't be here, even though it should be here. It doesn't feel like it feels like out of place in the second. It's in this movie, in the stage play.
In the stage play, they're a bit more intimate than what they do show in the film, and I think that's also part of the connectivity to the song and the emotional connection between them. I think that's what was lacking, because this was a PG-13 rating. They couldn't really do much with that, but I think if they were able to show a bit more through that song, I think that would have helped a bit. But I do get that it's just odd place for it, even though the song is beautiful. It's just, I do get it.
if there was an arc, that would be what the arc for me was, her accepting and choosing herself.
Well, that's where No Good Deed is. At the end of the day, that's what that song kind of gives off, right? And once it takes a very long time to get to No Good Deed, and I think that's what the problem is, because that's the crutch that kind of pushes her. It's like, I'm never going to do a good thing again for like anyone else. Like, I'm going to take, matters into my own hands. I'm going to be selfish. And that's what that song is. But like I said, after No Good Deed, it's popping. Like, everything's like great. Every single beat is hit after No Good Deed. Because you have Dorothy coming in, you have like, the water being thrown on Elphaba as well. Like, you have that entire scene with the door. Like, all of those are really strong moments after like she gives this amazing ballad. But to get there was just a mission and a half, which is the only downfall. Yeah.
Before getting out of here, I mentioned it before, and I need you to just, these songs. I remember the songs from Wicked 1. Like, you've given your spiel, Amanda. You could keep talking about it, but like, what happened with these songs in part 2? Like, what's going on here?
They're not the best ones.
Kind of boring.
See, the thing is that even like with Adri saying, like, the choreography and like for these musical numbers, they're not like that great. But there's no way to choreograph these songs because they're all very like, you can't. They're very dark. They're like somber. Like, these are songs that you can't really do these like grand choreographed numbers for, like, One Short Day in the Emerald City, like at the end of Wicked Part 1, or Popular, or like, What Is This Feeling? Like, those songs in the first one, they had a very fun, choreographed number, where here it's like, there's nothing that they can do other than Wonderful with Jeff Goldblum, Cynthia, and Ariana. Like, that was the best number, and I didn't expect it to be the best number. But yeah, it's very challenging because no one really likes the second half or the songs either. So it's because they're catchier in the first half. Much catchier.
Yeah, there was so much. Yeah. There was so much again where I was like, I'm enjoying this enough. But I'm starting to feel how I feel when I watch musicals I don't like. I'm low-key bored here. Like, is this boring? Because like, I'm interested in these characters, and I'm interested in these actors, and I'm interested in knowing what is going to happen and how we are getting and fitting in these legacy characters. But damn it, I'm bored. Like, ooh.
There's a lot of things you can feel with a musical. If you're feeling boredom, you've lost the mission.
Yeah, they're supposed to be fun.
And granted, I had a lot to complain about the overly choreographed like nature of like some of the musical sequences in Wicked 1, but this one is just like, what if we moved the camera this way and then move the camera the other way?
There was no fluidity to this. There were too many cuts. Like there's been
the editing's so bad in this movie.
The editing's horrendous, and that's why it's like so jumpy. But to be fair, again, it's just as choppy in the stage play. So I don't know, like if you want to be like as a fan, it's like of course it's 5 stars. They copied it perfectly from the stage play. Like what do you mean? But then as a critic, you're like, I'm basing it as a film, fam. Like this is not how it should be cut. Because there's a scene going around from, I think, Kiss of the Spider Woman. And I think Bill Condon did that. Yeah. The musical numbers are stunning.
I did not love that movie, but the musicals sequences of that movie are pretty dazzling.
Yeah, they're breathtaking. And it's like, I can't wait to watch it for that reason, because I want to see what he does with it. But it's a simple fact of like, there is a fluidity to the movement when you're choreographing, and not everyone can be like film that level of like, I guess, action in that case. Like there's a different type of action that you have to be able to capture. And I don't think that Jon M understands like how important framing movement is, because he didn't know how to do it. And there's way too many cuts when you're dancing, and that loses being locked into the actual number. And I think that's what the massive factor, like detractor, is here in this case.
This was for me a back-to-back of like movies I was very, very looking forward to, and kind of sort of disappointed weekend after weekend. Sorry, Edgar Wright, Glenn Powell, and Jon M. And
The Running Man is like, at least with The Running Man, it's like, it's definitely disappointing, but I feel like we would be like, if it was directed by anybody else, we would be like, that was a serviceable, like entertaining action comedy. This one is just like, not a good script. Like it's poorly directed. Other than these 2 excellent performances, like, I know it's something that I think is the death of a lot of films. It's for the fans. And to me, I say, if you're adapting a source material and you have to be a fan of the source material to like the adaptation, then to me, that's a failed adaptation.
Or the source material wasn't good in the first place.
Or the source material wasn't good in the first place, but you know,
that's the problem.
Like if you're adapting it, then fix the flaws.
They tried. I mean, with The Running Man, it's totally different because they changed the ending and it pissed me off. But that was just a bad call. Because I read the book too, and I'm just like, okay. I was so locked in I really liked it. I didn't think it was phenomenal, but I really liked it. But the ending really annoyed me because I'm like, why can't you just go full out? I know it's dark, but like, just do it. So that was a choice, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, the last 2 weeks have been unfortunate. But with that, thank you all for joining in on this next episode of Bigger Bite that also turned into a part 2 Bigger Bite of Running Man at the end here. But you can always see me and Adriano here a lot of the times. But Amanda, please let the people know, even though you are basically Bitesize adjacent, you're part of the crew, where they can find you outside of watching you here.
I'm so honored for that one. Thank you so much. I love being here with you guys. You guys can always follow me over at AMXND Reviews on Twitter and Letterboxd. Then you can check out my website, candidxcinema.com.
All right. So for Amanda, for Adriano, for the entire Bitesize crew who couldn't be there, and for all of you who I was going to try to do a pun to a song, but I don't remember the names or what they are. See y'all on the next one. Peace.